I am a Belarusian, 53 years old. I moved to Chile a long time ago, in the last century, without politics, for love. I work in geology. I live in Puerto Montt. I can only write expedition reports, so make a discount. My grandfather lived on the next street. Really, a grandfather. He was over 80. And we have a small bar at the intersection of the streets. So, for their own. There are practically no strangers there. So I started visiting in the evenings. I don't like beer, but the wine in Chile is very good. And the choice is huge. Well, have a chat with the neighbors. The grandfather behind the bar is sucking whiskey, chatting with the owner of the bar. I'm only half listening to the German next door. What a huge fish he caught. And a couple of strays coming into the bar. Not local. They're already dead. One word at a time, and he started cock-sucking the owner of the establishment. And then he took out his gun. I didn't even have time to move, as this grandfather sitting at the counter just waved his hand. The pistol flew away, and the stray one folded up, like a pair of compasses. And Grandpa picked him up by the hair and fucked him against the bar. As a geologist, I have traveled the world a lot. I've seen different people. Here in Mongolia, the locals, let's say, with a pedigree, have very flat faces, like a plate. When my wife takes a shower and presses her bottom against the transparent wall of the shower stall, I tell her that I remember Mongolia. When the fuck slid off the counter, he just had an oval instead of a face, perfectly flat, which has eyes, nose, and mouth painted on it. In a second, it all flooded in. Tears, snot, blood mixed with teeth. The second intruder tried to get to my grandfather, but then I hit him with a stool. They messed up somewhere, because I got in his face, too. The edge of the stool. He didn't even meow. Only the teeth splattered on the floor. The Carabinieri office is nearby, 300 meters from the bar. We arrived, interviewed them, and drew up a protocol. When asked by the Carabinieri how Grandfather coped with two tough assholes, Grandfather replied that he was with a Russian, that is, with me, and that, if I agree, he will put England with cancer, along with the Russian. The Carabinieri laughed and drove off with the two wrecks. Well, we stayed drinking. It's already on the house. That's how I met Louis. He used to live in this bar. I didn't go there very often, but when he came, he greeted me with the question, "Russian, are we going to win?" "Of course," I said. "After all, we are Russians." It amused him a lot. Once there was a small fire in the bar, nothing at all. But that evening, Miguel, the owner, closed it. I was about to leave when Louis called out to me and invited me to his place to drink a bottle. Then we had a drink, and I told him about Belarus, about Russia. He told me about Chile and his life, about his youth. He, then still a young man, was the bodyguard of Salvador Allende, the president of Chile. He was a little dark, but I realized that he was not only guarding the body, but also solving some delicate issues. Then there was a military coup in '73. Allende shot himself. Pinochet came to power, and Luis went underground. But he was pinched out. They tortured me. My toes were crushed. They broke out the rib with pliers. Well, and of course, there's a rollout. That darky didn't tell me what they wanted to know. Then they put him in a helicopter, and after flying 20 kilometers away, they threw him into the ocean. He was lucky. When I realized that it was all over and began to pray, I saw a floating gas cylinder. He has shattered legs, with a hole in his side. I swam 20 kilometers. Local residents found him on the shore. They helped me cross to Bolivia. That's where he lived, until Pinochet got his ass kicked. He returned to Chile and found one of those who tortured him. He took me out into the countryside and broke my arms and legs. I rented a private jet, loaded this bloodline into it, and threw it over the ocean about 50 kilometers from the coast. A year ago, I was on an expedition to Nicaragua. Upon arrival home, my wife told me that he had sold the house and bought a large boat. He came to our place and left a small box for me. When his wife asked him what had happened, he said he was getting senile. And that's not life for him. I got into the boat and sailed away, with the ends. Upon arrival home, my wife told me this sad story for me. There was a German parabellum in the box, his service pistol when he was at Teheran, and a note. "We will win." No one saw him again, and I still have the service pistol of the bodyguard of the President of Chile, Salvador Allende.